Now, if you think America is falling apart by accident, you just haven't been paying attention. From welfare scams to political riches to statewide collapse, basically, to safety failures in our airports. A pattern is forming, and every breadcrumb leads back to the same network. So today, I'm showing you exactly how America is being played.
Oh yeah, the Somalians have it figured out in Columbus. I went to the Walmart on Georgesville to see if I could see people filling their carts or just kind of see what I could see. It's not the way they do it. They've got it figured out way better than that. Every single Somali restaurant has a grocery store right next door or within eyeshot of the restaurant. The specific one I went into today had it attached to the restaurant. And wow, what an adventure that was. Stay tuned for more on that. Anyways, the grocery store and the restaurant were the same building. So they don't have to go to a Walmart or a Sam's Club or a Costco necessarily. They can just order everything they need to their grocery store that's right next to or attached to the restaurant that they also own and never have to fill a single cart. And I guarantee you, if you looked at the records of those grocery stores, they lose tons of money every year, and it's probably used as a tax write-off because those groceries are being funneled into those restaurants, with a daycare center on the opposite side. And that's the common trend you'll see. There's restaurants, grocery stores, and daycare centers, and also home health care businesses. I can't forget the home health care businesses. Nakia was absolutely right. And the reason for the daycare centers I found out while I was at Walmart. 3/4 of the workers I saw working in Walmart, especially the cashiers, were Somali women. You gotta figure if you have 2 or 3 wives that you don't have to claim, these women can go work at Walmart full time for $15 an hour and still qualify for food stamps as long as they have a couple kids, which you can guarantee you they at least have 2 kids. Hell, they average 7. Or same story as working as a home health care aide. They have most definitely figured out the system and how to take advantage of it. And Columbus doesn't break down its numbers like Minnesota, but if anything like the 88% of the Somali community is on social services in Columbus, I can only imagine how deep the fraud is. So I'm changing tactics and going back up Monday, and I have a couple ideas to see if I can't sniff a few things out. Thanks for tuning in. Keep it icy.
All right, hold on. Let's go back. Let's pause this for a second. Hold on, pause. Stop it right there. Look at that map. Look at that. Look at the amount of locations all tied to the same exact scheme. That is not random at all. That is not just crime. No. That is a coordinated network operating in plain sight inside American cities using our welfare system as a personal ATM. We got Americans out here working 2 jobs, and these stores are running $50,000 a month in EBT fraud alone. This is how the blueprint starts. Small scam, replicated, sealed, ignored. But if you think it stops, at this corner store, think again.
I'll ask again, where did Ilhan Omar get all that darn money from? Let's go through it. When she first ran for Congress in 2018, she was married to a Somalian man named Ahmed Nur Said Elmi, and she had a net worth of approximately $65,000. Not a ton of money, but $65,000. By 2020, a whole 2 years later, Ilhan had already divorced and remarried another Somalian man by the name of Ahmed Aladizian Herzi, and her net worth was still right around $65,000. Yet just 4 years later, she was divorced and remarried again for a third, or perhaps a 4th time. We don't know for sure because Ilhan Omar likely married her brother at one point to get him into this country illegally when she came here from Somalia, which, by the way, is a federal crime, and she's serving in Congress. And nobody talks about this. So by 2024, Ilhan's married to a new person, a white guy named Tim. There's Tim Minette. And Tim is not a rich man, but now he is. Tim's rich now because somehow over the course of the last 3 years, Ilhan Omar's net worth has skyrocketed to over $30 million and counting, meaning she went from having right around $65,000 to $30 million in 3 years. Think about that. Powerball drawing is tonight. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Ilhan Omar did not win the lottery. Bernie Madoff was cheating, and he still wasn't doing that well. That is a 46,000% increase in less than 3 years. Now, how do you suppose that happened? Do you really expect us all to believe that she just played the stock market like she's got a great investor and they just got kind of lucky over the course of the Biden presidency? And why are we the only ones asking these questions tonight? So once again, where did Ilhan Omar get all that money, and why is she trying to make Americans feel bad for Somalian criminals?
Great question. So let's connect the dots. At the ground level, you've got store owners pulling thousands a day from the system. But at the political level, at the political level, you have Ilhan Omar, someone who ran on being broke, right? On fighting for the poor, on, demonizing millionaires and billionaires, right? Suddenly reporting up to $30 million in assets. 30 million. That's crazy. Her husband's company cashing her campaign checks, mysterious businesses suddenly exploding in value, and financial disclosures jumping thousands of percent in just a few years. You want to know why America is being played? Because while everyday taxpayers struggle, the people in charge are becoming millionaires off the same communities they claim to represent. But it gets even worse, because you're here in the kingdom. And also because Minnesota shows what happened when this system decides to scale.
I'm Sandra Smith in New York. So one startling example sticking out concerns a program to help recovering addicts find stable housing. Initial estimates for the housing program was for just under $3 million annually. But an indictment shows grifters fraudulently billed Medicaid more than $100 million last year alone. Garrett Tenney is live on this out of Chicago for us. What do you have, Garrett?
Well, Sandra, several of the whistleblowers in Minnesota have told state lawmakers that by the time these investigations are through, they believe the actual size of this fraud, the amount of taxpayer dollars that has been stolen, could be higher than $8 billion. We are already seeing some of that. 2 days into the Small Business Administration's investigation, Secretary Kelly Loeffler says the agency has uncovered at least $1 million in PPP fraud. And the state itself is now looking into the possibility of fraud in another Medicaid program. Minnesota's Department of Human Services is now pausing the issuing of new licenses for disability service providers over concerns of fraud after an explosion in the number of applications for new licenses over the past 5 years, going up 283%, while the number of people needing those services only increased by 25%. Governor Tim Walz, who is up for re-election, is under fire for all of this happening under his watch, but he says they have investigated every claim of fraud that's come in, something whistleblowers dispute, and says the state is taking the steps it needs to keep it from happening again.
We've acknowledged that this is serious, needs to stop. It is stopping. People are continuing to go to prison. I think the good news for Minnesotans to know when that 90-day pause is over and the third-party audits are done, we will have a better picture than we've ever had, which I think is really good.
While all of these investigations are getting underway, Republican lawmakers are sounding the alarm about Minnesota's new paid leave program launching next month that allows anyone in the state, regardless of their citizenship status, to take 12 weeks of paid leave a year, paid for by the state. GOP lawmakers say the program is ripe for abuse.
It was written so broadly that you can take advantage of it and abuse it, and no one's going to come looking for you. The taxpayers put in a bunch of money to launch the whole thing. So this is going to be the next horrible thing coming out of Minnesota.
And it's
You see the pattern forming yet? Ohio wasn't an isolated incident. Ilhan's fortune wasn't an accident. Minnesota became the proof of concept for what happens when this fraud becomes institutional. Seriously, a program that was supposed to cost $2 million mysteriously ballooned to $100 million, and that happened almost overnight. And when investigators tried to look into it, blocked, delayed, shut down. Then whistleblowers came out and estimate $8 billion was stolen. $8 billion. 8 with a B. Man, that's wild. Now ask yourself, who benefits from a system like that? You know, who stays quiet? Who gets rich? Who keeps getting reelected? Seriously, because, you know, normal Americans sure don't. And if you think the consequences are only financial, I want you to watch this next clip.
How are you going to be paying? How are you going to be paying?
Send me the money.
Can I send you money?
What did he say?
First time I see an Amazon trailer trying to make a delivery here in LAX. If you guys are familiar with the area, this is pretty much where the arrival's at. The delivery driver who said he's from Somalia said that the delivery is here at LAX. Well, you can see over there in the distance, that's where the arrival's at for the passengers.
The location to delivery is look at sure. I'm the captain.
Why'd you go this way then?
Huh?
Why'd you go this way?
You know the Gami?
Your GPS?
The GPS the Gami? Yeah, it's just tell me to use this way.
Oh, to go through the arrivals?
Yeah, to back it up. The boss is
Oh wow. Okay. So he ripped off his lines. No! Right there. Damn. Okay. Oh, okay, he did talk to it. All right, first, what are you loaded with?
Yeah, to the Amazon.
No, I'm just having the driver back up and reconnect this trailer after hitting that K-rail. Oh, wow. Just connect the ones that connect to the light. Huh? Connect your light. There you go.
Sensational.
As you can see, tacoed his rim flat, and he tore off all his lines here. See that?
They need to send on the group.
The group?
The group.
On the group.
Oh, group chat?
Yeah, well, why would I send a link to a group chat? Is he the one paying? If he's not the one paying, I want the direct person that's gonna pay. I'll give you 10 minutes. If not, I'll just have I'll have the truck impounded. Tacoed rim. The drive of shame.
I know y'all like, man, what is this video about? Why? What's going on? This is what happens when a broken system starts putting unqualified people into positions that affect your safety. This wasn't a small mistake. This wasn't just a wrong turn. This was a semi-truck plowing into an airport arrivals deck because the driver literally couldn't read the signs or understand the warnings. This is what happens when we prioritize quotas, political narrative, cheap labor, and silence over competence, training, and accountability. America isn't just being robbed, it's being put in danger. And now the people are starting to, snap.
So sick of these people that immigrate to our country and decide to shit on this great country when they've been afforded the opportunity to have a much better life from their native country when you compare the two. How bad does your shithole country have to be that you uproot all of the traditions, the languages, and the customs? You leave all of that behind to come to a country that none of that stuff exists. How bad has your country have to be, and how good does our country have to be that you would leave all of that behind? And then you decide to come to our country and shit on it and talk about the bad things that are associated with our country. It's a definition of ingratitude, being an ingrate. And there's not much worse than an ingrate. You come to my house. I allow you to come in and to be a guest in my house, and you shit in my living room. Get the F out of my house. If it's that bad, go back to your country. I guarantee you ain't a whole lot of people booking vacations to go to Venezuela, Somalia, Afghanistan, or Haiti. It's just not happening because those are bullshit. And as our president said, shithole countries. He was right. He was keeping it 1,000. Stop it. Stop complaining about our country when we gave you the opportunity for a better life. And I'm not talking about all immigrants. My father was an immigrant, but he appreciates what this country has afforded him. If you don't like it, the door's wide open. Go back home and improve your homeland. Have a good holiday.
You hear that? That's not racism. That's not prejudice. That's frustration from the same Americans who were told they had to stay silent while the country fell apart around them. When Black Americans, the group Democrats count on the most, start saying this publicly, the political dam is already, it's been cracking. Because people can only watch their communities get drained, ignored, and disrespected for so long. But here's the twist. Somebody warned us years ago.
What kind of immigrants that you do want to see in America?
They certainly contribute. Yeah, I want to see people. Yeah, I want to see people that contribute. I don't want to see Somalia. I don't want to see a woman that, marries her brother to get in and then becomes a congressman, does nothing but complain. All she does is complain, and yet her country's a mess. It's one of the worst in the world. Let her go back, fix up her own country. Somalia, yeah, and I was right about it. I started complaining about Somalia long before the scandal. The horrible things they're doing to Minnesota, it's incredible. They have an incompetent governor there, too. The Democrats are running some bad ships.
Speaking of ships, what kind of immigrants that you do want to see in America?
Say what you want about Trump, but the man said this years before Ohio's fraud ring, Minnesota's billions, airport crashes, and Ilhan's millions. And every single thing he warned about has now hit the news cycle. And, it's been one clip at a time. This isn't hindsight. It's a pattern, a playbook, a network, if you will, right? And after all that, after the fraud, the money, the safety failures, you would think the people involved would at least acknowledge the problem. Instead, let me get this ready. This right here is the response.
Anytime, that he sees a Black woman sort of stand up for herself, that is intelligent, that is able to command respect, he wants to go after them and break them down. But he doesn't understand that you can't really bully a Black woman, right? We're built different.
Yeah. Let me ask you about this because he has said just within the last few days, I don't know if you saw news about you being, quote, taken back to Somalia. And I know, look, that is go back to Africa.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
That kind of racist.
You've heard that, yeah.
Of course I've heard that.
Yeah.
But have you seen that moment? Where he said that? He said, I spoke to the head of Somalia.
Yes. Well, it's the irony of him saying he spoke to the head of Somalia when he continuously said Somalia does not have a leader. It's kind of actually hilarious. And then if anybody knows the head of Somalia, they know that, what the president says cannot be true.
Well, he says, I spoke to the head of Somalia, and the head of Somalia said, ask her to take her back, and he said, I don't want her. Do you laugh at that? So
Yes.
Why?
Because I know the president of Somalia. And he wouldn't say anything like that. But also, why in the world would he take me back? I'm not some stateless person. I'm a citizen of the United States.
Right.
I'm a member of Congress.
Right.
So it would actually be really disrespectful for the president of Somalia to be yeah, sure, we'll take Ilhan back.
After everything you just saw, Ilhan still says this is about being a Black woman and standing up to Trump. Not the fraud. No. Not the billions. Not the collapse. Not the danger to Americans. Come on, just give me right now. Not the danger to Americans, not the networks operating untouched. Just identity politics. The same script used as a shield while the country gets drained. And that is the final proof. that America isn't just being mismanaged. America is being played. All right? By people who profit from your silence, your taxes, your laws, your safety, and your patience. And the question now is simple. How much more will we allow before we finally say enough? So if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to put enough is enough. All right. Yeah, we're going to make this easy because I don't feel like, trying to find something behind this cranium, Y'all be safe. Please go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.